and my sister and me is a very, very different kind of history. I don't profess to know for sure, but I believe none of us are pure, and in death we're all equal. I am a black Irish Indian, but you don't know about me, 'cause nobody ever taught you our true history.
Why? It's the top of the hour, and I'm bringing you our station ID. I am Rockin' Ricky Rocket, bringing you all the hits. I'm getting tired of cruising down the same old strip. I want to go where the kids are hip. Hey, welcome. And want to thank you for listening.
And welcome Cherokee Rose to Moccasin Tracks. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. All right. Here we are. Somewhere in here. We are here. And gosh, we just had a wonderful session with your songs, To All the Wild Horses, We Dance, Gypsy Wind, and we heard Black Irish Indian. What we've been through, and I will be. You know, we're just loving your voice and the stories that you shared on the album cover. And I was wondering if maybe we could just start there. You made your way to Santa Fe. Could you tell us a little bit about the journey early on and how you started recording music?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, giving me a chance to talk about my music. It was quite a long time ago now. Okay, so I'm an old lady now. just all that energy I had when I was 30 something compared to being 60 something, it's very different now. So I will do my best to remember. Can't say as I'm going to get it all right, but I left Minnesota in 93, 94 and came to Santa Fe. And basically for recording, I'd been playing guitar my whole life. I started when I was 9 playing guitar.
Wow.
And I started writing songs when I was like 11. And so my musical, I guess, background is that I just love to write songs. And I started really young and never stopped. I've never stopped. I'm still writing songs.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's what I have always been doing. That's been the consistency. I've had many configurations of bands and projects and recordings and things that I've done, but the songwriting has always been the foundation of what I've done. And I pull my songs from just things that come to me and that touch my heart or touch my interest, things about life, about, places I've been and everything. And you're right. If you read the liner notes, you'll see it was quite a number of journeys.
Yeah.
I visited your painting page.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Beautiful work. And that's just another way that you express yourself. And you're quite prolific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love painting too. That's something that I did not start out as a painter. I didn't even know that was inside of me to do. I just picked up a brush one day and started, and
wow.
Haven't. And that was quite some time ago too. That was like almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been painting for a long time, and I very much like it. It's a different type of expression, artistic expression. But it's still something that it's no different to me than how I spend when I'm with my guitar and sitting in my room and scribbling out song,
Wow.
scribbling out words. You're all by yourself in your own little world doing this, scribbling away, doing whatever. I guess that's my go-to. I guess that's my happy place. It's just
Oh, yeah, yeah.
someplace by
Oh.
myself with a pen or a pencil or a brush. Yeah.
When you were a child, I think you said you started playing guitar at 11. Is that what you said?
9 is when I
9,
took.
okay.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with that? And can I ask, what kind of music were you listening to or were influenced by?
You're not going to believe this, but I love the Beatles, but who I really loved most was like country music stars. Loretta Lynn was like my hero.
Wow.
It's just crazy, right? But I used to, but the songs that they wrote, were very just raw, I thought, very openly honest and very, I thought actually quite feminist in a lot of ways. But as a young person, the cadence of what they would write, the songs that they would write felt really real to me, and from a heartfelt place. And so I liked it. I liked that kind of honesty. And the Beatles it was the same thing, but their music was like, when I heard their music, it was like, oh my goodness, you can actually arrange music in a way that makes it sound like an orchestra, and all these things about the technical aspects of music making. Over the years, that's what I really gravitated towards as well. But I started listening to country music. I started listening to folk music, singer-songwriters. As I got older in my teens, it was Joni Mitchell. It was, and then I stumbled upon South African musician Miriam Makeba. Her her vocals to me were pure heaven. So I tried to imitate her. Can you imagine trying to imitate her vocal style over country?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So crazy. Yes, but I just loved her voice. I just loved it.
Yeah.
Wow. And of course, the two genres that you mentioned, Rose, country music and folk music, are just chock-a-block full of storytellers.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And I think that's what I appreciated the most about that music is, being able to, it's not easy to write a song. It's a very complicated creative process. And when it falls out of you fully formed into the story that you're telling, and it actually touches people, or people understand what it is that you're trying to say, I think it's a real, it's a very, very special creativity. And it was like electric. It was like plugging into an electric socket. Because once I wrote the first song, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And I just felt at home with that whole process. And that's not to say that I'm a good songwriter, but I love the process of writing songs. Yeah.
Well, the music that I've heard, I would say you're a very good songwriter.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the Black Irish Indian song. You wrote a little bit about it on the notes inside. How times have changed, and when you wrote it, it wasn't a real popular song. Yeah, how do you feel about it now?
I was actually quite shocked to get a call from Don Giovanni. Joe Steinhardt called me after tracking me down to re-release the song that I had written 30 years ago. And I will tell you how I wrote that song. I was a single mom with 3 little bitty guys that I was raising by myself. And I would put them to bed, and that would be my only time to actually sit down with my guitar and write. So that's what I would do. I would sit in my room and wang away on the guitar, trying not to be too loud. and write songs. And one night, that song came to me. I just started writing it, and then I finally I put the words down, and then I started fleshing out the chord structure for it. And I looked up, this was like probably close to midnight at night. And I looked up, and there's my 3 kids standing in the doorway of my room. And they're standing there, and they're in little silhouettes in the door because the light was on behind them. And I was like, what are you doing? Go back to bed. And they were like, and they were listening to me, and they were like, they were the ones, they said, Mom, when are you going to do something with these songs? This is a really good song. And I was like, yeah. And that's what they said to me. And I was like, go back to bed. As a mom, you're just like, what are you doing? Go back to bed.
Oh, wow.
They were just like, no, it's a really good song. And that got them out of their beds enough to come upstairs and, come and stand in the doorway of my room and tell me what I was doing. So then I went back to writing, and I was very, anxious about that song because it's so raw and it's so honest. And I was very anxious about it, but something made me record it. Something made me say, this is, the kids, they're, I guess, mysticism of what it was that they were trying to convey to me that night. I went forward with actually recording it, and it was very scary in many ways, because at that time, any mention of slavery was like a taboo. You were not allowed to discuss that in any way, shape, or form. You were not allowed to even acknowledge that it existed. And for that to be re-released today, at a time when people are at least broaching the subject and recognizing the history and recognizing what happened and recognizing everything that happened, I felt there's a little small person inside of me going, yay. Because it was really quite a risk at that time musically. And nobody liked that song at all. Everybody was like,
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was one of the first I wanted to hear when I first broke open the CD, when Don Giovanni Records sent us a copy here at the station, and I was like, whoa, look at this. Because it is so important, and it is exciting that history is now coming out. So many scholars are writing and bridging that gap with the peoples. So good for you. Tell us what you're working on now. Is there anything that you think that might come out in the future again? Another CD?
Well, I self-released kind of a poppy, but still very much singer-songwriter song called Refugee in 2010. And I think that would be the one that I would probably work on trying to re-release, because it's very also speaks to what's going on now 12 years later, which is the song is about a woman who's carrying a child on her back, and she's lost her home due to the earth changing. And I think the number of climate refugees around the world, that is, people are faced with literally, especially up in Alaska and tribes around the world, they're literally faced with losing the very ground under which they have lived their entire lives. And that's what that song is about. And I think that song would be one that I would try really hard to release, because it's about something that's going on right now.
Yeah. Do any of your children play music now with you, or?
No, one's in restaurant business, and one is like a corporate trainer, and one is a firefighter. They don't have any.
Wow.
But they appreciate it, but they don't. My granddaughter, she tries.
Oh, okay.
And she's a real singer. She has like, what do they call that perfect pitch where she can sing anything.
Oh,
Wow.
good for her. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm hoping that she'll follow in that path, but she's young, so she's got time to figure all that out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so exciting. Um, of course, we love To All the Wild Horses, and that may be one of your most popular songs.
Yes, it is, and that's another that was a vision song. That was a song that I don't feel like I wrote that song. I feel like it just came through me and fell out on the page because it was a vision song. It was, I don't know, you'll probably think I'm crazy, and it's not drug induced, but I do have from time to time. I do have from time to time these waking visions of things where you're just like daydreaming, and you just see something. And I had this waking vision of like, I was in the studio with friends, and we were just kind of playing around, and all of a sudden I wasn't there. I was standing on a mesa watching these horses run, and it was so real. It was like I was there, and I was just so swept up in the feeling and the experience of it. I didn't question, like, what's going on? Am I losing my mind? It was like, I didn't even go there. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I was right there. And then all of a sudden I was back in the studio, and my friends were looking at me. They were like, hello. I was like, I got to write this song down. So I wrote it down, and it was like, took me 5 minutes. And then they were just like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And then we started working on the music together, and that's how that song came about.
Wow.
Wow.
You're meant to do this.
Yeah. Well, my songs, yes, I feel blessed in that I try to listen is what I try to do. I've always tried to just listen and get out of the way of messages and thoughts and ideas and things. I try to listen, and that's been a really important part, because I think everybody has a voice inside their head. Everybody has like an inner knowing, an inner sense of who they are. Like, say you should listen to your intuition, listen to yourself, listen to what you know. And never has that been more important than when you're trying to write a song, because they come to you, the words come to you, and then you can either reject them and say, that's crazy, that's not a hit. You can say, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's not a hit. Oh.
Crazy. But then if you listen and you just write it down here and you start to let it go where it wants to go, then you start to figure out that sometimes you just get songs, they just come to you. And if you let them, they'll appear, they'll show up, they'll guide you in your artistic work. And I used to teach music I taught music class for Native students at Zia Pueblo here in New Mexico. And we had a good time. We actually made a video that went to Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and got them funding for their music program. Wow. And I helped them choreograph all the moves. And
Oh,
terrific.
We did a bunch of songs. And in that process, it was really interesting, because I was showing them the difference between writing a song, or like we worked with other people's recordings to do the music and the choreography and the video and stuff like that. It wasn't any of my music, but they were very curious about like original recordings and original music. And in that process of teaching them about it, I was trying to convey to them that, when you all get ideas, everybody gets ideas. And there was one little boy in that class. He was a drummer. Very, 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 very talented, very young, but very talented. And he was the one who asked me all the the artistic questions about what it meant to write a song. Like, where does it come from? And how do you put the words together? And why do the words have to go only this cadence? And how many sentences do you have to have?
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So he
Great.
helped try to flesh out all those, ideas of what it means to write a song.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you've had quite a lot of experiences that, just always come back to that you're very creative and artistic, and I'm very in awe of it all. Thank you for sharing some of your experiences. I love that you also wrote on the jacket cover about how we're all, facing a future since the pandemic and other things that are happening. And I'm wondering if you might want to speak to that a little bit more, and what gives you, comfort in these days of uncertainty, and anything that you might want to share with our listeners today.
Well, it's a deep thought to come to terms with where we're at human is for humanity at this particular moment in time. I think many people intuitively know that things are changing. They're changing very rapidly. We are probably standing on the precipice of a whole new world in a few years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I think that what gives me hope or a sense of positivity is that I really strongly believe in the young kids that are coming along. I have a deep, deep faith in the fact that I really, truly believe that they are going to pick up the mantle and run with it in a way that maybe we as a generation of older people, we were held back from really being able to do it. But I believe that it's like the tide. I believe they are the tide that's coming in, and that they will push the boundaries of, human existence on this planet towards a more positive way of life, more inclusive, more community oriented, more understanding that literally we are all in this together. And not necessarily because they want to or that they have the tools to do it, but I think they'll just figure it out, because the reality that we're all facing, that I think makes it kind of has a sense of uneasiness about it, is that we genuinely don't have any choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important to remember.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah,
we must move on from the destruction of our ecosystems and our air and our water. We must clean up what damage has been done. We must move on, and we must find a way to move into the future in a way that's going to sustain life.
And you have such a gift with your songwriting to be able to give those messages to people.
Yeah.
Your work is important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are going to make me cry.
Oh, well, we were trying to play some messages today, and we went on air a little early to remember Wounded Knee, because this time of year it's hard to not remember. And how, I always want the listeners to know the truth. And so we played some songs that people have written over the years: Floyd Red Crow Westerman, Buffy St. Marie, so many Native musicians have commemorated Wounded Knee. And I said, I'm playing by Cherokee Rose your song about dance.
We dance.
We dance.
Mhm.
And I thought, that was really what was happening. The people were gathering to dance, and they continue to dance. And what a beautiful song to just, continue to play today. Always important.
Thank-
Yeah, yeah. So, you're part of like the message going out today from our hearts to our hearts of our listeners. And you've touched, I'm sure, many hearts with your music today. So thank you for
Thank you.
gifting us with it. That's what's the most fun about doing radio broadcasting, is, sharing the music.
Thank Joe Steinhardt. He's the one who hunted me down, tracked me down,
Yeah.
hiding behind a paintbrush out here in the desert.
Well, I'm really happy. And, originally I was looking for music by a man we interviewed last week that has a group called December Wind. And he released a new album, the Don Giovanni Records. And when I wrote to them, they said, "Hey, would you like some other music that we've just put out and published?" So, they really advocate for you as well. So I said, "Yes, oh, this is fabulous."
That was quite a little bit of kismet there. It was really good.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Deb. Thank you to all the listeners.
yeah.
And Mike, is that your name? Mike?
Rick.
Rick. Thank you, Rick.
You're not
Sorry.
the first woman that got my name wrong.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Rick.
I'm sorry, Rick.
That's quite okay. I don't remember it myself after that.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well,
Thank you
it's
both.
well, we've been really honored to talk with you, and thank you for sharing your story. And if there's anything in closing, we have a couple more minutes here that you'd like to.
I would like to direct people to some, I guess, community organizations that I think are, really going to try to find them, do some research, find the community organizations wherever you live that are working towards sustainable food growth, sustainable farming practices, sustainable living in terms of building community and community resources and help. I think that one of the things that I really feel strongly about is that our future lies not in a national or international or world, even though it's important to keep that perspective that you are part of the world, but our growth as humanity will revolve more and more around what we can do right here in our own neighborhood with our own communities.
Mhm.
I think that resources that you can help and support and sustain that are right next door to you and in your own backyard are going to be the ones that help build little by little across the world a real global community. And we stay connected to each other in our hearts and in our spirit. But there's real work to be done on a grassroots level. And I believe that if you can find those people and help them in any way that you can, even if it's just, delivering food or picking up mail or, sending out missives and email and newsletters or just doing a talk or giving it, that anything that you can do on that level is going to move that needle forward towards more inclusiveness, more community, and more sense of our shared humanity and our growth together as people on this planet.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really been an honor to talk to you, Cherokee Rose. Yeah.
Thank you.
You take care and keep writing music.
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.